Ladies and gentlemen, I'm ashamed to say some of the things I'm going to say hereafter, but I think it's preferable to submit myself to shame, bear the shame, and contribute something that will save lives, save the society, than to hide the cancer. We have all been inundated with news about an Igbo man who burnt his wife to death. If this was new, if this was an isolated thing, we would not be worried. We would say, well, maybe this fellow developed mental illness, but we know this is not isolated. We know that this is not isolated, and for people like us that have our eyes on the ball, we know what is happening. But it is problematic because out of a nation of at least 50 million people, if only 3 of them know the source of the problems, then the nation is in trouble. I will read and then I will explain. He burnt his wife to death. Wouldn't have been worrisome if it was an isolated incident in the life of these people who traditionally would ensure that an animal for slaughter didn't suffer. Traditionally, before the Igbos would slaughter an animal, they will sharpen the knife to the extent that it can remove a strand of hair on your beard so that the animal will not feel the pain. Our people were that kind, but that was when Omenana. I have to go to lengths again to explain that the horror a lot of Igbos post online, post on social media are opposites of Omenana. They are not Omenana. A lot of ideas they express are not Omenana. A people who were this kind, a people who were this humane, have changed. That is why an Igbo man burning his wife, he could have been insane, but then if we say he was insane, and that explains the situation, how about what we witness almost every 3-4 months? Igbo ladies literally setting their relations who were sent to help them to run their own homes, setting them on fire. And by the way, the clowns we call, I don't want to humiliate majority because of a few, whose only engagement with Igbo studies is to say that Igbos did not come from Israel. Why haven't they looked at issues like, how did we come to accept that housemaid should be used for a girl the family gave you to assist you in bringing up your own children? Why didn't we think that this is a misnomer? People only become scholars when they rise up and begin to dispute what they have not studied, what they don't even have the resources, the acumen, the information to engage with. As far as I know, if you do not have the appropriate resources, academically you cannot even engage with the question of where the Igbos came from. You can only engage with it if you have the resources. Otherwise, be contented with the oral tradition, which is that the Igbos came from Israel, even if you are a professor. So, the marriages of the Igbos in places like the US, UK, Nigeria, remind you of the 100 years wars in Europe and Yoruba land. The Igbo man and his wife don't see themselves as friends. They see themselves as rivals. Everybody is competing to overdo the other. But that's not what I read in Arrow of God. Go back to the Arrow of God by the great Chinua Achebe. The high priest, the chief priest of the community returned, saw that his compound was not swept. He summoned one of the wives inquired why. The wife gave excuses. The chief priest said, the abomination all of you are committing in this compound will be on your head. And he went away. He did not say my compound because he understood the concept of marriage. Those three wives were there as his equals, whom their families allowed to come and help him to build a family. So he couldn't do more than he did. He only read out the omenana to them. You are not sweeping the compound, you are leaving the compound dirty. It is sinful. And if it attracts repercussions from Chukwu, you will bear it on your head. I will not bear it. I, Ezolo, will not bear it. Remember, the God of Israel told the Israelites, sweep the compound every day. I'm always moving around in your midst. So it's a ritual among the Igbos for the compound to be swept every day. When we were growing up, if an Igbo perceived the smell of human feces, he performs a sacrifice. That is exactly what you find in the Torah. But let us concentrate on man-woman relationships. What we see today, the rivalries, the competition, I did not see them in Arrow of God. I did not see them in the compound of Ilona. That was my grandfather. His Nazirite name was Ezofido. These two characters I mentioned, the high priest and my grandfather, they and their wives were just partners. The women were co-equals. You have no authority to lord it over them. For a man to douse the wife with petrol and burn her, he was thinking that the woman belonged to him. He was thinking that this woman was property. Just like the Igbo woman thinks the Igbo man has become his property when they are married. But nobody is your property. Your wife is not your property. Your husband is not your property. They are simply your partners. Igbo people, this is the time for us to value and listen to our thinkers. Nzerabi Iyile. We used to call him Don Capuchin. He's an Igbo thinker. Every man and woman you find in Omenana Defenders is an Igbo thinker. Professor Francis Duru is an Igbo thinker. Anthropologist Shim Madike is an Igbo thinker. Architect Izuono is an Igbo thinker. Nicholas Ejiofor is an Igbo thinker. Engineer Zogo is an Igbo thinker. Nzerabi Igwegwu na Mmadụ is an Igbo thinker. Barrister Matthias Odo is an Igbo thinker. Shimon Samedi is an Igbo thinker. Ozomoloku is an Igbo thinker. Onyebushi David is an Igbo thinker. Nzerabi Osuji Ikechukwu is an Igbo thinker. Mwoweta is an Igbo thinker. I will leave this talk if I do not proceed. If I want to start listening to you, the people who have devoted their lives to studying you, thinking about you, and who will tell you the way to proceed. Nzerabi Eronini Napoleon is an Igbo thinker. Nzerabi Charleston Okafor is an Igbo thinker. This is the time to go to them. This is the time to refer to them. Governments cannot help. Our brothers and sisters in government, we get it right when they listen to us. We know what is going on. They don't know what is going on. The Igbo man, the Igbo woman has been subjected to so much trauma that he's now eating himself. If it doesn't get to you today, it will get to you tomorrow. Your daughter could be born alive even if you are living in the United States as a citizen of America, as a citizen of the UK. Your son can be roasted alive by his wife. He burnt his wife to death. So many questions are to be asked. What do our people even understand marriage to mean or be today? Essentially, a union for people to have sex and to own each other. Not even to have children. Because I'm immersed completely in authentic Israelite biblical omenana. I know that the woman you married is an independent individual, that her family allowed to work with you to raise your own family for the good of the community. That was why our sisters were taken home and buried when we were normal. If your wife died, she will be taken home to her people to be interred. She didn't become your property. You did not become her property. You are simply equals that agreed to work together. The language of she will submit to me is alien. Your son is not even supposed to submit to you. When God blessed me with my first son, I got my mate. My first son, he turned 15 yesterday. When God blessed me with him, God gave me a co-equal, let alone the woman. You went and begged her people to join you to raise a unit of Igbos to increase our numbers. No, she did not become your partner. She did not become somebody that will submit to you. She's your co-equal in all ways. In this, what most of our people think to is this most of what our people think today? I'm afraid not. But are we to relax? We will never, so that we will survive into the future. Thank you. Have a good week.